Hello and welcome to the Business Standard Morning Show. I am Ruchika Chitravanshi. It is 14th of February 2024 and here are the questions we will be answering today. Is legal guarantee for MSP the right fix for farmers? What is the cost of building poor quality infra? Will TCS share in Tata Group MCAP continue to weaken? And what is the government's Bharat brand? With coastline hundreds of kilometers away, presence of shipping containers at Delhi borders startled many on Tuesday morning. Cranes and policemen had worked overnight to put them at strategic spots where they teamed up with metal and cement barricades to stop protesting farmers from marching into the national capital. Over 2 years after forcing the government to repeal the 3 farm laws, farmers are back at Delhi borders. Legal guarantee for MSP is one of their key demands. But is it the right fix for their woes? Kasturi Akhil and Ayush Mishra find out.
After over 5 hours of talk between a group of union ministers led by Piyush Goyal and farmer leaders failed to break the ice on Monday, the government knew what was in store. And preparations were being made for it all the while, even as talks were underway in Chandigarh. Prohibitory orders under Section 144 of IPC were imposed in Delhi and neighbouring districts. Hundreds of cranes ringed the capital with metal and cement barricades and barbed wires. Even shipping containers doubled up as barriers to halt the flow of people into Delhi. It also put commuters in a fix. By Tuesday evening, hundreds of Punjab farmers had arrived at Delhi's doorstep, and as many were on their way. It's the Farmers' Protest 2.0. Over 2 years after they forced the BJP-led central government to repeal 3 farm laws, farmers are back with a list of unfulfilled demands. 2 key unions, Kisan Mazdoor Morcha or KMM and Samyukta Kisan Morcha, non-political, are taking part in this protest. Together, they claim the support of over 300 unions. Samyukta Kisan Morcha, non-political, is a breakaway faction of Samyukta Kisan Morcha, which had floated a political outfit recently. These unions want legal guarantee of minimum support price or MSP for all the crops. They also want that the prices of crops should be set on the lines of MS Swaminathan report. A legally binding MSP will mean that no one can purchase farm produce below the MSP, and doing so would be punishable under the law. Currently, the government provides MSP for 23 crops, but most of the crop procurement largely happens only in wheat and rice produce, since they are the primary food grains distributed under the government's public distribution system. Besides demanding a legal guarantee, the farmers are also asking for an increase in the MSP to at least 50% above the weighted average cost of production. That's what the Swaminathan Commission had recommended. However, experts believe that such a mechanism will distort the demand-supply dynamics of the market and will drive away private traders who will refuse to procure the crops in the event of a price slump caused by increased production.
When it comes to the legal issues, I am not very sure the government can do it. But even hypothetically, I feel that it is made legal and government procure all the wheat, all the grain. I think it becomes very, very, utopic scenario. Do you think the government has got resources to procure all? If you think it has got resources, does the government has got resources to carry it over the storage, which does not, route in the storage of the, Food Corporation of India? And does the government can give this directly to those who are the needy without any leakages? It is absolutely an utopic idea, in my opinion.
Economists believe it would be better to offer income support to farmers instead of price support because it could influence their production decisions. They may choose to oversupply some crops and undersupply the other without factoring in the market conditions. It will also put an extra burden on the government exchequer and prevent competitive pricing for exports. Farm subsidies given by the states and the centre add up to more than 4 trillion rupees. In the interim budget for FY25, the government has allocated 1.6 trillion rupees towards fertilizer subsidies. CSC Shekhar, professor of economics at the Institute of Economic Growth, told Business Standard that declaring MSP without ensuring effective procurement would be meaningless. According to Shekhar's analysis, the government can only procure as much as 30% of the production due to storage constraints, necessitating the rest to be absorbed by the market. So, is there any alternative to MSP?
Legalizing of MSP is not a very conducive solution. Then that is the big reason behind this is that it is declared in 22 commodities. 22 commodities constitute almost more than 80% of the total agriculture produce of cereals and food grains in the country. Now, these commodities are grown in heterogeneous and various varied conditions, varied crop climatic condition, varied places. The spread is huge. The country is large. There are multiple mandis, there are multiple trading places. All these makes enforcement of MSP legally a very difficult process. But is there a way out? Yes, definitely there is a way out to ensure that farmers get a price which is equivalent of MSP and may not be only through the markets, which is market is the best option to give you a better price. If not to the market, then some other mechanism of maybe a price deficiency system or maybe an income support system, which can supplement the MSP, which several experts are also talking about.
Other experts also believe that measures like price deficiency payments can be adopted by the government. In the event of the market price being lower than the MSP, the government can pay the farmers the difference between the market price and MSP with respect to the quantity sold to the private trader. Besides MSP, farmers have 12 other demands, including pension allocation of 10,000 rupees. Most experts believe that legalizing MSP will not address the woes of farmers. Talks are the only way out to end this impasse.
Ruling parties in Delhi and West Bengal, meanwhile, have extended support to the farmers. While the Delhi government refused to turn a stadium into an open prison, Mamata Banerjee has slammed the use of tear gas by policemen. The protest, it seems, has given a rallying point to the opposition. After farmers, let us now turn our gaze to the country's infrastructure. Thanks to the government's capex push, a host of projects have seen the light of the day, and scores of others are under progress. But what about the quality? Recent collapse of a Delhi metro wall has again trained spotlight on this crucial aspect. Abhijit Kumar speaks to experts for answers.
Just 5 years after its opening, tragedy struck at the Gokulpuri metro station in New Delhi last week when a portion of the boundary wall collapsed, claiming one life and leaving several injured. This is not an isolated case of problems with newly built infrastructure. Earlier last week, the Pragati Maidan tunnel in Delhi, built at a cost of 777 crore rupees and launched in 2022 with an eye on the G20 summit, was recently deemed useless by authorities. They cited various structural issues, including cracks in concrete, drainage problems, and underground seepage. This, even as the project was overrun by delays. According to reports, the Public Works Department has issued a notice to L&T, the company that executed the project, demanding a payment of 500 crore rupees. Unfortunately, the saga of crumbling infrastructure is not new either. According to a news report, the Eastern Peripheral Expressway, a 6-lane greenfield project built by the National Highways Authority of India that opened in 2018, has already developed cracks and the streetlights are defunct. The 135-kilometer stretch was constructed at a cost of 11,000 crore rupees. Why does our planning of such infra fall short? Infrastructure expert Devanshu Pandit believes that the method of awarding contracts and selecting consultants needs a relook.
So one of the major problem is that we don't have our contracts, process in a right terms. The contracting process is the criteria which are set for the consultants are quite varying between the different projects. So there needs to be some standardization. In consultant selection, we have a huge, marks which is given for the, methodology, approach and methodology and so on. but what happens is that those are all subjective criteria, and that often results into the selection of the wrong kind of agencies. Contract administration is the another reason where we are not able to implement everything is written in the contract, all good things are written, but who is implementing them? So you need good PMCs, you need good third party agencies, but they have become a rubber stamp these days.
These infrastructural lapses have led to the loss of numerous lives across the country. Last August, an under construction railway bridge collapsed in Mizoram, resulting in the death of at least 26 labourers. Several others were reported missing. And who can forget the harrowing Silkyara tunnel collapse incident in Uttarakhand, where more than 40 workers were trapped for weeks? The Morbi bridge collapse, which claimed over 141 lives, and the viral video of an under construction bridge collapse in Bihar last October are some other examples of the pressing issue at hand. These incidents serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of a public infrastructure, whether completed projects or those still under construction. So, how can we ensure accountability in such cases?
The procurement model for public assets should ensure that there is no incentive to cut corners in either original build quality or subsequent maintenance and operational practices. That's one. I think the second is enforcement. And here I would like to see authorities move beyond the manual reports of independent engineering agencies and actually implement a more automated camera and sensor based asset condition monitoring that transmits the real picture on the ground. And I think we should also consider initiating legal action for poor public asset quality.
It is important to note that these lapses are not the result of a race to finish projects on time and within estimated budgets. According to the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation's written response in the Rajya Sabha, in December 2023, of the 1,788 central sector infrastructure projects valued at 150 crore rupees or more, 411 experienced cost overruns. The overruns amounted to 4.3 trillion rupees up to October 2023. Additionally, 837 projects were facing a delay of 3 years on average. Experts believe that the poor quality of infra may be on account of the government's ambitious infra push, both at the central and state levels. Sometimes these projects run into lapses around ecological, geological, and drainage, as well as construction methodologies, logistical challenges, and local insights. There exists a deficiency in data exchange and collaboration among the various agencies involved in project execution. The Niti Aayog took notice of the problem and came with a technical guidebook called Indian Infrastructure Body of Knowledge, or INBOK, in 2020. It was developed as the ultimate Indian standard for program and management of infrastructure projects. But it will take time to fully implement the guideline. The problems are likely to persist until then. So how can the issue be addressed?
There's a need for an independent body or a regulatory commission to come in and have the ability to create an impact, not by only penalties. Penalties are very small. It's a financial impact. But in terms of rating, the moment you do a rating and link it to concessional financing, the quality of construction will change. Quality of builders will change. Quality of people who are involved in the designing will change.
There should be no public infrastructure created on the EPC model. At the very least, it must be construction with annuity, forcing developers to ensure that initial quality is up to the mark. 2. Automated condition monitoring should lead to stringent fines for defaults. It is also important to involve the public to report on faulty assets. And 3. For loss and damage to life and property, if investigations point to asset build and maintenance failures, police and project authorities must initiate criminal proceedings beyond mere financial measures.
With these incidents highlighting the urgent need for rigorous quality control in India's infrastructure projects, experts believe faulty contract systems need to be done away with. Ensuring digitally enhanced surveillance of under construction projects could track the lapses. Experts have also said that an independent body must be created to oversee and standardize the quality of public infra.
Moving on, the Tata Group has continued to hold on to its mantle of the most valued Indian conglomerate, with its market value recently crossing 30 trillion rupees, making it the first business to do so. While TCS remains the highest contributor to the group's market capitalization, its share has been on a decline in the last few years. So, will this trend continue ahead? Our next report by Harshita Singh finds out.
The Tata Group recently became the first Indian conglomerate to cross 30 trillion rupees in market value as IT major Tata Consultancy Services topped rupees 15 trillion in MCAP for the first time. While TCS makes nearly half of Tata Group's market value, it recently saw its share dip below 50% for the first time in over 10 years, with smaller Tata stocks seeing a much sharper rally in the last 1 year. From its peak in March 2020, when it held 74% share in the group market cap, TCS's contribution has since then fallen amid slower earnings and strength in other Tata stocks. Further, Tata companies added around 10 trillion rupees to their combined market cap since December 2022, with only 31% of this increase coming from TCS and the rest from others. While TCS is expected to see improvement amid bets of a turnaround in IT spending, analysts believe Tata Group's consumer and auto businesses, which offer new technologies like EVs, will likely see faster growth.
The older businesses of the company, whether these are into steel, power, etc., so they have done well in the last 2-3 years, but today the major contribution to the market cap comes from IT services, consumer, and followed by auto. In this entire context, I would say in the last 2-3 years in particular, TCS has been a relative underperformer because the IT services has not done well. And others, like for example in the consumption space or auto, they have done far better. So going forward, I think the performance of TCS is likely to improve relative to others. But otherwise, in the longer term, some of the consumer businesses and the new emerging businesses of the group, they are likely to grow faster and do better for the group as a whole.
Data shows that TCS's stock price and market cap have risen by around 26% each since December 2022, far lagging behind other group stocks. Trent, TRF, Tata Motors, Tata Power, and Tata Consumer in comparison have seen their market cap rise as much as 182% in the same period, with their shares also sharply outperforming those of TCS. Tata Steel, meanwhile, has trailed TCS with a slightly slower growth in both its MCAP and share price. Sharing similar views, Apurva Seth believes smaller Tata companies' pie will see continued rise.
As and when the smaller companies in the Tata stable keep on getting bigger and bigger, and as we add new companies, so recently we also saw Tata Technologies coming up with an IPO, so that has a market cap of about 45,000 crores. So as smaller companies keep on growing, they will start to take up the market share, or they will take up a bigger pie in the market cap.
Among individual stocks, Apurva Seth's long-term Tata Group bets include TCS, Tata Technologies, Tata Steel, and Tata Motors. Today, on 14th February, Dalal Street will take cues from global market reaction to the US January consumer inflation data.
He's making plans for an early retirement. Business Standard.
The net profit of Tata Consumers, meanwhile, dipped by 17% in the third quarter of FY24, and it is not just the mighty conglomerate. The net sales growth of all the listed FMCG firms touched a 14-quarter low in the same period. Clearly, the slowdown in private consumption and high inflation are taking a toll. People too are affected, and to cushion that impact, the government has in a way made an entry into the FMCG sector. It has launched Bharat series products at affordable prices. Kasturi Akhil has more on it.
The government has recently launched Bharat Rice at a subsidized rate of 29 rupees per kg. In the first phase, the Food Ministry has allocated 500,000 tons of rice from Food Corporation of India or FCI godowns. It will be sold through outlets of the National Agricultural Cooperative Marketing Federation of India Limited, Kendriya Bhandar, and National Cooperative Consumers Federation of India in 5 kg and 10 kg packs. These subsidized rice packs will also be sold through major e-commerce platforms and 100 mobile vans. Despite restrictions on its exports and good production in 2023-24, the retail prices of rice are still high. And this move is likely to provide some relief to people. Before rice, the government had launched Bharat Dal and Bharat Atta in the retail market. Launched in October 2023, the Bharat brand chickpea lentils or chana dal is selling at 60 rupees per kg at the same outlets mentioned earlier, and also on online platforms. The average price of chana dal of other brands is around 80 rupees a kg. Consumer Affairs Secretary Rohit Kumar Singh has claimed that Bharat brand Chana Dal has grabbed a quarter of market share within 4 months of its launch. The government is also selling wheat flour under the Bharat brand. Bharat Atta is being sold at 27.5 rupees per kg. India is vulnerable to food price shocks from extreme weather events and global factors. There has been an average 15% jump in retail prices of grains in the last 1 year. While India's retail inflation eased to a 3-month low of 5.1% in January from 5.7% a month earlier, food inflation, as measured by the Consumer Food Price Index, eased to 8.3% in January as against 9.53% in December and 6% in the year-ago period. According to economists, the Reserve Bank of India's monetary policy tightening has started to show its impact on core inflation, but food inflation continues to be a cause of concern. In the CPI basket, the weightage of food items is close to 40% in urban India, while in rural areas, the food and beverage sector makes up about 55% of the CPI basket. Clearly, food prices are something the government cannot ignore, especially during an election year.
I'm backed by the nation's trusted bank, SBI, the banker to every Indian.
Apart from this, the government is also providing free food grains to around 81 crore poor people under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. Well, that is all we have for you today. For more news and analysis, please log on to business-standard.com. Thank you for watching.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.